Welcome everyone to Breaking Bread presents Break or Pull. In today's session, we will be breaking down continuation entries versus your pullback entries. Now, this isn't about right or wrong, but it's understanding your timing, your risk, and your execution. So let's get into it. Break or pull. Now, understand before we get any deeper, both of these styles work, right? Let's just say that first. Both work, break or pull. The only difference comes down to when you're entering and how much you're willing to risk on taking those entries. First up, breakout entries. A breakout entry or a continuation entry is simply price breaking a level of support and resistance, and you're entering right there. So you're expecting that momentum to keep going. So here you see price is respecting a level of support, right? It built a level of support, and now it's finally breaking below that area. You're going to look to enter here, and you're going to hope that this momentum carries you into the direction of the break, right? That's your breakout entry. You're hoping that this continues going, right? You're anticipating that it's continue going, right? So whereas your pullback entry, this is calling for a little bit more patience. You're waiting for price to break a level of support and resistance. You want to see price come back and retest that level of support and resistance that it just broke, right? And then you want to see price give you a reaction. You want to see it hold that level that it just broke. And once it does that and it confirms to you that you should take the trade, then you're going to look to get into that trade, right? This one is calling for just a little bit more patience. So you see price here created a level of resistance that it was respecting. It finally broke through. So that's our break. Now we're looking for price to pull back to the level that it just broke, right? Our black line that you see here. Price pulls back and retests that area. It gives a reaction. It's holding, right? Now we're letting price confirm to us that this is going to be a continuation to the upside, since that's the direction that we broke, right? We broke to the upside. We want to see price pull back to that area and confirm and hold that yes, this is going to be a continuation to the upside in this situation, right? So we had price break, we had price retrace, retest this area, right? This area of resistance is now acting as a level of support. It's holding that. It's giving us a reaction at that level. So now we're going to look to get into our trade and play this back to the upside. Now let's talk about some of the pros and cons of both the breakout entries and the pullback entries. Now understand your breakout entries you can definitely catch the biggest move early without a question, but they also come with higher risk, especially if that level doesn't hold. So Mo takes this entry off FOMO or and sometimes not based off structure, right? So this is the risk involved, right? You'll get into a trade and price will push past level and you think it's breaking and then it'll turn around on you. And now your emotions are trying to be in control, telling you, should I hold? Should I get out? Should I add contracts, right? So you go down this whole emotional roller coaster sometimes when price does not continue with that momentum. So whereas your pullback entries, right, this is giving you confirmation. So this is price talking to you just a little bit more deeply, right? And it's going to help with better timing and then a cleaner risk. The trade-off is though, is that price moving so fast, you have to be just a little bit more patient. It might not come back for you immediately, and you have to be okay with that, right? You have to be okay with that. You probably just missed a strong move because it did have so much momentum when it broke and it just kept going. You have to be okay with that. But you do have to understand that price is always going to come back, right? It doesn't just move in a straight line up. It doesn't just move in a straight line down. It has to pull back. Now, when price pulls back and confirms to you that that trend is going to continue going in that direction, then you must execute on your trades. Now, I spoke on it a little earlier, but let's talk about the trap with the breakout entries, right? Like I said, price can push past your levels and it can look like it's breaking and then it'll turn around on you. And that's the trap because not every breakout is a real move. Sometimes price breaks just to trigger you getting into the trade and now you're stuck because now price is reversing on you, right? That's not continuation anymore. Now you've become the liquid. So you see here, price was acting as this level was acting as a level of resistance, right? We broke above it. Now you're in the trade because you're thinking this is a breakout, only for price to turn around and come back on you, right? So then this is where your emotions start to kick in. Do I cut? Do I hold? Do I add? Do I want to see what price does here, right? Should I close? All those things that you're going through. So you have to be careful of that trap, right? You got to be careful of those breaks and price turning around on you, and it's not a true break. Let's talk about the psychology behind it, right? A lot of breakout entries come from emotions, right? The fear of missing out. You just wanting that action because you're just so used to hitting the button, right? You don't even care what the structure is saying. You just hitting the button every time you see price ranging, support and resistance, and now you're looking to take entry because it broke out, right? That's key, right? But understand that's not a strategy. That's just you reacting to what price is saying. And it's also sometimes it stems from because you don't trust your levels. You don't trust the strategy that you put in place for yourself, right? That's also a thing. You just need that extra confirmation. Although you said, okay, I want price to come off this level of support and resistance, and then when it does, you don't hit the button because you don't trust it yet. So now you're giving it more room, and you need more confirmation and more confirmation, and then it's gone by then, right? So that's just the psychology behind, or some of the psychology behind um, playing breakout. All right, let's talk about higher time frame versus lower time frame. Now, your higher time frames give you the direction and your real levels. Your lower time frames give you your entries, but that's also noise, right? So yeah, price might break on the 5 minute, but on the hour, that might just be a formation for a wick to form on that hour time frame. I'm gonna go over an example on this, but I want to go over my approach real quick, right? Now, I use both. But I lean more towards, I want to say I'm 90% pullback entries and 10% breakout entries, right? But I definitely use both. I just prefer confirmation. I would prefer price to tell me, okay, yep, for sure. High probability, this is what's about to happen. And then I'll look to get into my trades, right? I'm not against breakouts. I definitely use both, but I want to see, did price break? Did it come back? Did it hold? Then I'm going to execute, right? It's all got to be in alignment for me. Now, when to break out is when the higher time frame is clear, right? It's when the higher time frame is clear, or I clearly see a trend, or I clearly see what I like to call price getting gas, right? Or I clearly see price squeezing, and it's just playing back and forth, right? It's building up that momentum. Then I'll look to take that breakout, right? If not, I'll just wait, right? Because I just like I showed you guys, and not every breakout is going to be successful. Not every pullback is going to be successful, right? But these are the times to where I look for those pullback entries. I'm sorry, those breakout entries. So here, 5 minute time frame is our lower time frame. Hour is our higher time frame. We see on the 5 minute, it's just been playing. It's not really doing anything. This is what I like to call price squeezing. This is what I like to call price building up that gas to make a strong move, right? So we see price pushed up, started to come down, and below this black level, you probably take the trade. You're like, oh, it's breaking out. That's not it though, right? That's not it. And then price pulls back above this level. So now, had you got it in here, now you must decide, okay, do I hold? Do I cut? What do I do? Right? But this is why you have to play it in confluence with the higher time frame, because if you see this wick on the hour is what this is here in this situation, right? Price pulls up and it goes and do it again, right? And now it's starting to pull up, right? And now that's that wick, right? So you probably wouldn't have fell for it on the second time because it didn't break. But if you would have fell for it on this first time, then that's where those emotions going to be in check, right? You always have to be in control of your emotions, not your emotions in control of you, right? Now, looking at this, you could have took this break. You could have took a pullback entry. How? Well, price broke back above this level of support, right? It broke back above. It came back and retested that area. Why not take that entry here? And even if you don't want to take it there, you can wait till price break out the top side. It broke out the top side. You can take entry and see if that's going to be a true breakout, which it was, as you see here on the hour. It just kept going, right? But you have to understand, when price is building that gas like that, building this momentum like this is one of them times. If I'm not taking it off a pullback, I'll definitely take a breakout entry. I'll definitely take it. All right, so let's talk about your confirmation entry, your pullback entries, right? This is what we want to see. We want to see price break. You want to see it come back to the level that it broke, right? So that level of support and resistance that it broke. You want to see it hold that level. Then if it continues, now the move has been validated. We can't skip a step, right? We can't, it has to break. It has to retest that level that it broke. It has to hold that level by giving us a reaction and holding that level. Then that's going to confirm to us, once it starts moving back in the direction of the trend, that we should be looking to get into that trade. But the same thing I just showed you guys with the higher time frame and the lower time frame, it's the same thing that you got to do with the pullback entries as well. You should always be trading with one higher time frame and one lower time frame, right? Unless you're out here scalping. Other than that, you definitely should be trading with both, right? Now, like I told you guys earlier, every pullback doesn't mean it's going to be a valid pullback, right? Like I showed you an example earlier, price broke above, it came back and retested, it held that level, and it started to move up, right? Valid. To where in this situation, we see price pulling back, but it's not confirming anything, right? It's not holding a level that it just broke. It's not giving us a reaction that we need at a level it just broke, right? So never assume just because, oh, price looks like it's in an uptrend, it's going to come back and hold. No, never assume. You let price tell you what's going to happen. And until price tells you it happens, there's nothing for you to do. Price is telling us something is happening here. It's not telling us anything is happening here as far as price holding. It should continue this uptrend, right? So you have to be mindful of that. Never try to assume, right? You can anticipate all you want, but until price does it, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just a thought. It's just a thought. All right, so let's talk about some of the bread and butter, and this is just some of the key takeaways from today's session. Understand that both breakouts and pullback entries work. The only difference is your timing and the context, right? Also, not every break is a real move. Some are just traps to manipulate you into getting into a trade. And as soon as you do, price is heading back the opposite direction. And now you're stuck with a decision to make. Should I get out? Should I cut? Should I add? Right now, your emotions start to think, oh, my Lord, what did I do wrong? Right? It's not that you did anything wrong, right? Price is either going to go or it's not. Also, higher time frame gives you direction, the lower time frame gives you entry. Don't get caught in the lower time frame noise, right? Yes, price may look like it's pushing past a level, right? But you have to compare that with the higher time frame. Was that push above just to create a wick for that higher time frame level? You have to be mindful of that. Also, stop trading off your emotions, that FOMO. You have to trade off structure and price confirming for you. That's breakout or pullback, right? On breakout, it has to confirm to you to get into that trade when it breaks above that level or break beyond that level of support and resistance. Pull back as well, right? Price has to break beyond the level of support and resistance. We want to see it pull back to that level of support and resistance that it just broke. Hold, give a reaction, and we're going to look to get into that trade, right? This is all based off structure. This is all based off confirmation, not us and our emotions and what we want to see or what we think is going to happen. No, let price tell you what's going to happen. Let it tell you. All right, so understand at the end of the day, it's not about breakout versus pullback. It's about execution. So some of y'all are entering too early, others are chasing too late. But the goal is simple. Let price show its hand, and then you just play yours, right? Now go ahead, take this information, go look at the charts, go look at the back, some of the trades that you took recently, and go identify, okay, could I have taken a break, a pullback entry here, or was it better to take a breakout entry here, right? Don't sit on this information. Go apply it. Let's get better. Let's grow, right? It's our turn. It's our turn. I thank you guys for joining me today. Until next time, I thank you guys for breaking bread with me. You guys remain blessed.